Welcome to Want More with Dr. Moore, the criminologist of the Bay, where we discuss the criminal justice system and many other interconnected systems that influence the justice system, including education, politics, and law. Your host, Dr. Delia Moore, is a college professor who created this space to discuss and facilitate transformation in criminal justice. Each week, we'll interview dynamic leaders and changemakers in both the professional and private sectors who are impacting justice as we know it to educate, empower, and enact the changes you want to see. Here's Dr. Moore.
Welcome to Want More with Dr. Moore, the criminologist of the Bay, where we bring you stories and insights from the intersection of justice and society. I'm your host, Dr. Delia Moore, and today we have Logan Campbell, former Contra Costa County Alcohol and Other Drug Advisory Board member and chair, and who is now running for Martinez School Board. He brings a knowledge of Martinez, an informed perspective on recovery and prevention approaches, and a desire to enact change. Welcome, Logan Campbell.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. All right, so I have a host of questions for you. We're going to cover a variety of topics. These topics include your experiences, your challenges, your leadership philosophy, and any of your thoughts about what is happening in the city of Martinez.
Okay.
All
do
right.
my best.
All right. Well, that's what we want. Okay. So really just first question, and kind of getting into this space. Can you tell us about your background and what inspired you to run for Martinez School Board?
Well, my background, I'm in recovery myself. If I make it through the middle of next month, I'll have 15 years clean and sober. And what got me initially involved with alcohol and other drugs is my brother, my oldest brother, also suffered from addiction and was going through the system at this point. And ultimately, I got to see a lot of the issues where people are entering recovery versus myself going through it, and the different thresholds of entering programs or seeking out treatment. So when I saw that, I wanted to get a little bit more involved. And that was also at the Alcohol and Drug Advisory Board, Support for Recovery, and a few other organizations. And how I got involved or wanted to get involved with the Martinez School Board, a lot of these issues don't, as you know, start when they hit 18. It starts at an early age. So, at first, somebody had asked me if I was interested in running for it, and, I couldn't really bridge the two together, but after talking to a few different people, I thought I could make a positive impact on just a variety of issues, and including the budget. As we have lower enrollment, we have to find more new creative ways to keep programs alive and available to disenfranchised students.
Nice. Okay. Well, we see you getting involved in all of these different spaces. Really commendable.
Thank you.
All right. So what have you learned personally from your experiences on the board, the Alcohol and Other Drug Advisory Board for Contra Costa County, and how has that influenced your decision to run for Martinez School Board?
So I think this is across the board, and everyone's probably experienced this, is there's a big disconnect between, in this case, the parents, the teachers, the district staff, and the community as a whole. And it's the same thing with alcohol and other drugs, from people that are seeking treatment, to the families that are trying to support them, to the staff, and then the chiefs and program managers. So trying to bridge all that together is a huge goal for me.
Nice. What are some of the most pressing issues within education that relate to alcohol and drugs? You kind of touched on that. And how would you like to address it if elected to the Martinez School Board?
Well, I think one of the biggest areas of improvement is the disciplinary action to individuals that are caught with substances, right? I think it's a huge disservice for us to just expel these kids because it's not helping them, it's not helping their parents. So obviously helping re-educate them in the dangers of using substances and alcohol. And also when it comes to prevention and breaking down stigma, I think those are also two really big areas that can be improved and trying to bring different organizations that can help support the students and the parents where we haven't seen that in the past.
Right. Well, I like that you talked about stigma. That's often something that we don't mention, but it is a real issue around how people respond to drugs, react to it, our interpretation of people who use drugs, and really, just the way that we label and classify. So I'm glad that your campaign will have an intentionality around addressing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So now that we know some of the most pressing issues in the Martinez School District, what is your vision for the Martinez school system over the next few years?
Well, getting enrollment to go back up, and we're going to have to do that by being creative and making it exciting for kids to want to enroll in the Martinez School District. One is we're a big trades town. There's lots of labor unions that we host, and one of the big issues that they face is students being able to pass the math portions to be able to enter those apprenticeship programs. So I would like to offer more classes and get them involved and see how they can support the students and the teachers. Also, our adult school used to have a police academy, and as you know, law enforcement, there's not a huge influx of that right now. So getting individuals where they grow up in the community to be able to participate back in that community will have a better impact on everyone. One other very important thing is housing. We can't solve it for everybody, but there are some properties at the school district in which we could potentially convert to workforce housing. And this particular property would be within walking distance of at least 4 of our schools. So it allowed teachers to not only just work in the community, but live in the community that they work in, so that they can not have to commute in from other counties or cities over a half hour away, but also be more affordable for them as well, knowing that our teachers there's just not enough money available to pay them what they deserve.
Right. That's nice.
That's the hope.
That is the hope. Okay, let's keep hope alive then. All right. So let's see here. What strategies will you implement to gather feedback from students and parents about their experiences in the school? So moving forward to post-election, November 5th is behind us. What ways are you looking to engage with families?
Well, my phone number is already available to people, which I think is not very common and might bite me in the butt one day, but it's out there. Transparency is really big for me, and getting people involved that not only that just have kids in the district that might have formerly had in the district or don't have kids at all, because as you know, the quality of the education doesn't just affect those, it affects everybody within the district and that lives in the district as taxpayers and just overall wanting the best out of the community. So being available, having regular meet and greets at least once a month where people can come meet, ask questions, call, email, and reaching out to different clubs and PTAs and being able to take all that back to the district and share that with my fellow board members.
Nice. Well, as former PTA vice president for a couple of years, I definitely know that people would appreciate that, being able to be in connection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And your number is floating out here in these streets. No, I'm just playing. All right. Okay. So what do you see as the biggest challenges facing the Martinez School District?
Well, definitely making people aware of what's going on, where they're at, and where we're looking to move forward to. That seems to have always been a problem. And I myself, not having any children, but trying to learn on what's going on in the district, attending a couple-hour board meeting isn't the most exciting way to spend a Monday or Tuesday afternoon. So hopefully, like I said, it could be as much about getting the information out to people and letting them know what's going on so that they can participate.
Right on. Okay. All right. So what are your thoughts on how to best respond to the increasing need for mental health supports available to students, especially after, living during the pandemic, and now we're starting to see some challenges that students may be encountering?
Well, I've heard a couple different things. I know there's a push in some districts to remove phones to get people interacting with one another because, as you know, with COVID and the pandemic, a lot of people got used to isolating, and to get re-engaged is more difficult for some other people than others. and feeling that they don't have someone to talk to. And then obviously working with different nonprofits and other organizations within the community to see what experience they can share and what services they can help provide also to help outreach to students. And even the teachers, because it wasn't just the students that were affected, it was the teachers and the district staff as well, and the parents, of course.
Well, as an educator, I appreciate that. I think that, being in the helping profession, we often forget about the helpers. So I'm glad to hear that you're also thinking about them as far as extended mental health supports.
Of course.
Really. All right. So what approaches or ideas do you have for ensuring the safety of children on school campuses?
So, I am not going to be the first one to say I am an expert in that particular area, but I don't necessarily think it is what some parents have told me, which is having officers um, on the campus grounds. I think a lot of it has to go to having a safety plan where everyone understands what to do in an emergency situation, but also who to reach out to, whether it's a one-on-one, peer-to-peer thing as well. And then also when it comes to safety, um, right now, I don't believe that we're doing enough to help re-educate kids when it comes to bullying, microaggressions, whatever it may be. Again, rather than traditional like detention for a kid, being able to educate them and help them understand why whatever behavior, whether it be physical, mental, or verbal, why that's not appropriate, and why that might, why they may not want to do that to an individual or have it done to themselves as well.
Nice. So new spin on the anti-bullying campaigns that we've seen before.
Yeah. Again, more of that one-on-one to help, again, re-educate that individual that's causing that harm so that they understand rather than just a boilerplate punishment.
Okay. All right. I can get that. All right. How important is education in preventing substance abuse? And what strategies do you think are most effective?
Communication, right? And that one-on-one peer support. Because a lot of people, again, as we spoke about earlier, stigma. It's hard for people to talk about what's going on, especially at their family lives. They don't want to be judged. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in high school, but sharing your feelings wasn't like top of the priority list of things to get you up on that
Right.
social ladder. And again, talking to other organizations that have the experience of working with these individuals on a more personal level and seeing what works and what doesn't work, rather than just going with what I recall as DARE program, which is great. And again, I can't stress prevention enough, because rather than trying to be reactive, getting in front of students, making them aware of some of the dangers and pitfalls of substance use in order to maybe look cool or to cope with pain or depression would be very important. But again, I can't stress enough, having community involvement is going to be like key to that success.
Right. And I hear you on prevention. DARE has varying results, but it's definitely one of the prevention campaigns that people can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were doing DARE in 5th grade. I think that's the year, apparently.
And the shirts are popular now,
Yes.
among even adults.
All right. So what role do you believe schools and local organizations play in substance use prevention efforts?
Well, a huge role. Again, I'll just keep going back to community, and helping break down that stigma. Being able to openly talk about what works and what doesn't. But also, like I said, a connected, concerted effort, and not just throwing a bunch of different things and confusing the students and even the staff that are trying to help educate these individuals on what prevention efforts work and what they've seen success in.
Okay. All right. What supports would you like to ensure for families struggling financially and for those experiencing homelessness?
Well, again, and this seems to be a repeat, making people aware of what's available in their own backyard. So one organization, Loaves and Fishes, I'm a part of, serves over 3,200 meals a day. And that's free. There's no intake. Nobody has to show ID. You could show up in a Lamborghini or a shopping cart. They feed you. And as far as housing, there's a bunch of great organizations that are nonprofit and then within the county that help with financial assistance related to rent, Section 8, and other variety of like single parent programs that help with that. So for food security, housing, as well as like mental health and other services that are available. So trying to bridge those two communities together to help better educate them, see what's available out there. Because again, most people don't know where to go, and even the county in some cases or the city doesn't know how to best direct those individuals and where to find help.
Right, that's true. Well, it's good that that information will be available to the school so that they can pass it out and share it with families as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So, who are your role models in education, and how have they influenced really your leadership and really in your approach to your campaign?
Well, I can think of a couple of individuals. One is one of the current board members, Yasmin Lamas. She's a huge advocate for a lot of students and parents that don't have a voice. And watching her at board meetings and out in the public reach out to parents and bring those concerns back and really fight for them, even if some of the other board members don't totally understand or don't have a lived experience that they can reference to try to see how these individuals are struggling. Another one would be Lynn Mackey. She's actually not part of the Martinez school district. She's the Contra Costa school district. And I've known her for a number of years, and we've had meetings with her through alcohol and other drugs board, and just seeing how she interacts with not only us as board members, but also the district staff and her teachers and other elected officials, and how she brings them together and tries to help them in their goals. So I think that lacks sometimes, and I just love how they, again, treat other individuals and try to help them along, especially if they're new to a space.
Nice, nice. Okay. Some good role models
Yes.
there mentioned. Okay. So, what have been the most important lessons you've learned through your campaign?
Well, there's a lot of different input from a lot of individuals, which I do appreciate. But trying to navigate a way that, because of how my district is split up, it's one of the more influential schools versus one of the less economically developed schools where some of the even facilities are a little run down. So by listening to both of those, both PTAs, some of the students and parents, finding common ground between both of them where they can succeed together versus find different ways that they can work together rather than just fight and argue over what either one of them is doing or what they should and shouldn't do.
Okay. All right. And last question for you. In preparation or in support of your continued candidacy, kind of thinking about that, what final message would you like to share with the voters of Martinez as they consider your candidacy?
Well, open government and transparency. I think for too long, too many people have tried to reach out to their electeds and don't get either an answer back or just get a soft answer to push them off without really addressing what's going on, or just trying to reach out to them and understand where they might be coming from, even if I don't agree with their standpoint, and try to find a way that's in the best interest of mainly the students, but also the teachers, the district staff, and the taxpayers and residents of Martinez.
Nice. All right. So as we wrap up today's episode, I would like to thank you, Logan. Thank you for coming, your willingness to share. Thank you for sharing about the work that you have done and the work that you hope to do after November 5th. It has been a real pleasure to see you in this space and to be in company with you. All right. So now that we know what is going on with Logan, I do want to just kind of impart to all of my viewers here. I challenge each of you to take this information with you into your communities, whether it's through advocacy, volunteering, or simply educating yourself and those around you, much like what Logan Campbell is doing here. Thank you for tuning in to Want More with Dr. Moore, the criminologist of the Bay. If you found this episode informative, be sure to leave a comment and follow on all of the socials. Until next time, educate, empower, and enact the changes that you hope to see.
Want more with Dr. Moore, the criminologist of the Bay? Follow us on Facebook at Want More and like and subscribe on Instagram at Want More Dr. Moore for more information and future episodes. Until next time, educate, empower, and enact the changes you want to see. Want more.